My first business was doing everything from selling Christmas trees as a boy to selling beer bottles and picking them up. And you know, if you went to the park on Sunday morning, if you got up at 5, you would get all the beer bottles. And if you slept in till 6 and went down, you'd get about half.
And getting there early has been one of the hallmarks of Dave Ritchie's extraordinary career. He was born on March 2nd, 1936, at Kelowna General Hospital. The youngest of 6, Dave was raised on a farm where he and his siblings enjoyed 3 helpings of porridge daily.
You didn't realize how tough it was because you had never experienced anything else.
Shortly after the war, his father opened OK Used Furniture in Kelowna, and Dave loved the place.
As a young boy going to school in Kelowna, I would go there every night after school, and it was a great training ground. You know, I loved to see what we had bought and sold that day. I didn't realize how much I was being taught while I sat around that old coal stove and listened to these old guys that used to come into the office and sit and talk to my dad.
What he was learning was the value of a creative approach. At 20 years of age, Dave was already demonstrating his business savvy. With no money in his pocket, he bought the Kelowna Furniture Store and the building it came in at 1618 Pandosy Street. He convinced the owner of the store and the building to allow him to use the furniture in the store he was buying as the down payment on the building. And with that, he was able to secure a mortgage. Creative gumption is one thing. Keeping a cash-strapped business afloat is another. Once again, Dave's flair for the creative allowed him to find another way. The bank was about to call the loan. Dave sought out suggestions and was told by an auctioneer that he would help him auction off the furniture in the store.
We did have enough merchandise as surplus to our store needs, and we went ahead and we rented the Scout Hall in Kelowna, and one Saturday afternoon we had our first auction sale.
And the first item that old J.D. McFarlane sold was a pulley block that I think we paid $50 for, and he sold it for $5. And I thought, oh no, how could that happen? You know, what's this going to be all about today? But as it went along, things started to sell all right, and we had an old piano that we thought we were going to get $100 for, and it sold for $275. All of a sudden, we liked the auction business again.
One of the hallmarks of business laureates is their ability to see opportunity and seize it. That's exactly what Dave Ritchie did. He jumped feet first into an auction that would forever change the business he was in.
In 1963, we had our first big sale, and it sold very well, and that launched us into the heavy equipment business.
It also launched the company on a growth path that legends are made of. Over the next 22 years, Ritchie Brothers grew from startup to annual revenues of more than $185 million from auctions across Canada and throughout the United States.
We had the opportunity in 1986 to be involved in the sale of the assets that came out of the Falkland Islands. And that took us to our first big overseas adventure with our first sale in Liverpool, England. And the following year, we bought a whole bunch of equipment from the Trans-Gabonese Railway in Africa, which took us to our first sale in continental Europe.
Over the next 26 years, Dave Ritchie introduced the unreserved auction model to countries and cultures around the world when no one else would. It grew based on trust, integrity, and some pretty basic customer service principles.
We looked after the customers, you know, and we thanked them for coming, and they liked that.
Treating staff the same way has long been one of the pillars of Dave's business philosophy. When the company built its new worldwide headquarters in Burnaby, staff considerations came first. Where would they eat? Where could they burn off calories and relieve stress? And for those with children, where was the nearest daycare? Dave Ritchie definitely had his finger on the pulse of the company, and it was his insight into opportunity and the courage to act on it that propelled the company and redefined the industry. In the early 1990s, the internet was only just appearing on the horizon. Once again, Dave seized this opportunity, much to the chagrin of his partners.
A lot of people thought I was absolutely crazy with that internet.
At that time, we spent a lot of money on a visionary idea, that at the time seemed to be awful expensive, but it was the building block for us to continue to grow into the online model that we play in today.
The online portion of the business now accounts for more than 30% of the company's business. It is just one of the many examples of the insight, passion, and determination of Dave Ritchie.